Aronian will be over. He will be the winner and head through to the semi-finals. And he does have the white pieces. So what should we expect?
Yeah, I think Magnus, he will just try and be slow and steady in this game. He won't take too many risks. Remember, Magnus Carlsen, all he needs to do actually today is get 1 point out of these last 3 games. So especially with the white pieces, he won't want to allow Aronian a sudden kind of miraculous fight back. Magnus, as long as he draws or wins this game, he'll be very happy. So I expect steady, risk-free chess from him. Aronian, meanwhile, it'll be interesting to see his approach. Does he burn his bridges and throw everything in this game and risk going kind of getting eliminated early, or does he allow Magnus to maybe force things towards a draw and gamble that he'll win the last 2 games of today?
Yeah, but this is always the ultimate player dilemma. Do you do what you say, or do you just try to be as calm and rational and aware of every possibility as possible? I mean, it's not really Levon's style to kind of just go crazy. He's kind of much more the kind of astronaut type, which is just simply be calm and very collected.
Yeah, usually Aronian plays best when he's ice cold and not kind of affected too much by those emotions. But yeah, this is going to be a very difficult moment because he knows that his time is running out. Simply, he needs to fight back.
And I did love what I just saw, because Levon Aronian, he just took his webcam a little bit down, and we always see just the top of his head because he keeps sinking down in his chair. So maybe now we'll get the full Levon Aronian for this game. It has started.
It has started, and we do see a King's Pawn opening. Will Magnus Carlsen play the Spanish, one of his favourite openings? Will he play the Italian game that we saw earlier in the clash between Nepomniachtchi and Nakamura? Magnus Carlsen, I mean, maybe he doesn't realise it's his move. Just pausing there, and okay, he plays. I mean, we call this the 4 knights defence. You can understand why, because all the 4 knights are out very early in the game. So the 4 knights defence right now, there are options. You can aim towards opening up the centre quickly, which Magnus Carlsen does. Again, we call this the Scotch 4 knights, because the Scotch is when you open up the centre very, very quickly. It leads to a lot of trades, and here we see a set of knights have left the board. We see both sides castle the king. Magnus Carlsen here, okay, back to his food, but he will most likely castle his king. There's a second option if you want to be a bit tricky, if you want to play safe, if you want to give a check with your queen, but Magnus, no, he castles, and Levon Aronian does the same. A bit of copycat there. Actually, in 2018, just before Magnus Carlsen played the World Championship match in London, his final warm-up event was the European Club Cup, and he was playing for whether he'll use those that we discussed. But yeah, either way, this opening for white, it has a reputation of being completely risk-free. This is the type of opening players quite fancy to pull down, but that won't be
That's
enough
not
to
going to
improve
be
his match
sufficient.
situation.
I mean, absolutely not. Then that means that Magnus will be half a point away from winning the match and going into the semi-finals. Certainly not ideal.
And actually, the way it's looking right now, I know we don't have the games on the bottom here, but maybe we can get them up. So Jan Nepomniachtchi now has won 2 games. So if he only gets a draw in the next one, that will be over. He will be in the semi-finals. Wesley So, it's looking like he's winning against Alireza Borussia. Yeah, we see it there. And if he does, I guess he only needs a draw. Also in the next round to be through to semi-finals. It does look like Anish Giri is looking good against Maxim Vajedragrad. And I guess with that win and a draw in the next, no, he'll need another win.
Need another win.
Okay, so not 100% sure that we will be done after 3 rounds.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the biggest shock would be if there aren't tie breaks.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, these players, they're also good, they're also so close, but okay, meanwhile, there have been some developments in this game. So a set of pawns have been traded. So remember, white is still a pawn up. White has 1 extra pawn on that left side of the board, but the problem is white's rook next to the white king. It is just so passive. Black's rooks are perfectly placed. This is where you want your rooks in rook and pawn endgames. You want them on the 7th rank. You want them behind your opponent's passed pawns, and sooner or later, white's extra pawn will drop. Okay, Magnus just waiting with his last move, bringing the rook back. That doesn't really improve his position, but sooner or later, Levon, okay, there he goes. He's heading for that extra pawn. That white pawn is going to drop off. It's just going to be rook and 3 pawns against rook and 3 pawns. No chance to break through, not enough material left, and the game will be a draw. Look, this is completely balanced right now, and the players, they'll find a way to make a draw. Here we go.
I think we're going to see it. The pawns are going to get exchanged, and yeah, this is just completely drawn. Nothing to see here actually. Just the players will just be moving around their rook, and that's it. There's just no way to make progress.
Yeah, and the thing with rook endgames is there's no way to actually force a trade of rooks for either side. And if you avoid a trade of rooks, there's without passed pawns on the board, which will just run down to make a queen. Without those, there's just no way to win. So 2 pawns against 2 pawns on the same side is a very simple draw, and there we go. Draw has been agreed.
Magnus Carlsen is shaking his head for the first time, not too happy about his game in this quarterfinal.
Yeah, he was quite unconvincing in that game, to be honest, but he is a step closer to the semis. So in the grand scheme of things, he will be relieved.
But look at Levon Aronian just making a plan now for what